Hello and welcome to the Sub 1 YouTube channel. My name is Ray, and in this video, part 6 of the R2D2 Robot build, I'm looking at ring 2. So ring 2 is not a full ring in as much as the back section is open. So these are all the parts that I've got for it on display at the moment. And with a bit of luck, I got all of those prints recorded. A lot of it is held together with pins. So if we take a little bit of filament, there's little holes in the end of these parts that we can poke our filament into. And then join the parts together. And this is bent on me. I might just replace those two pieces. It's when the hole pokes all the way through, so I'm just going to push it back a little bit. Okay, so that's our first part. Now on all of the ring parts, we've got these little raised knobs, and they're actually important because they key into the piece that's above. On this one, we've got some fairly large holes. Those are for screws with nuts on the end. Down over here, we have two more small holes. So we'll put some more filament in those. And then we can join those together. And then again, down the bottom here. Okay, so that gets most of our ring together. I will put these nuts and bolts in because that'll help hold it together. These are just M4 screws. And they're 16 millimeters long. Okay, so that's basic assembly completed. The next trick will be to plastic weld where our pins are to make sure that doesn't come apart. And we've got provision here for square nuts, and underneath here, provision for more square nuts. So I'm going to put those in and put some screws in to hold them in place. Now I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but it'll be one of the greebles that'll be pushed in from the backside and screws will hold it in place. I'm not sure what size screws will be used. I'm just using these 10 millimeter long countersunk M4 screws just to hold them in place while I do the welding of those nuts into place so they don't move. Now these ones are a bit harder because they come in from underneath this exposed part there. Now I do remember seeing in the ring 1 in the bottom a couple of indents, so to speak, and I'm thinking they're the bottom half of whatever holds this in place. So our next trick is to get the 3D pen out and warm it up. Again, sitting at 235 degrees C. And I think I might just weld these two nuts in to start with. And I might rotate this round and see if I can get these other two. That's those ones done. Let's rotate this round and do our first joint. I think I might do this one first because I've already nearly pulled it out twice, just in that little bit. Right, so that's my first joint done. It's fairly solid, it's not coming out. Let's do the other side. directly opposite and get it nice and smooth as well. So I'm looking at this from the underside. You'll note all these little holes here. They actually line up with the pins on ring 1, which we're going to be doing as soon as we're finished welding this ring together. So I'm just going to get the inside first. So that's me tack to hold the inside in to make sure it doesn't come loose while I'm doing the rest of it. And that leaves me with one left to weld in. And that's this one just here. Flip it over and do the other side. Okay, so that's the bottom welded up. What I may have to do is just knock some of these welds back a little bit with the file, just to make sure they are dead flat. And these go on like so. Now to make sure these holes here, which will have threaded rod in them eventually, are aligned properly, I've got these long screws. They go through the second ring, but they won't go all the way through both, but they will make sure they're aligned correctly. Now there will be 4 of these, so I've got one for over here and one for here. And hopefully they will keep that all aligned when I push down on this and start my weld on the inside. But before I do that, let's make sure those bottoms are flat properly using a file, and then we'll assemble and weld it into place. So there's one of my welds there. So you can barely see where that is, and that's good. That one's a screw joint. There's another weld. So again, that one's pretty good. You can see he's pretty flush. That's my last weld there. And that's my last one. That's the back of the robot. Okay, let's start welding this in. I think what I'll do is a series of tack welds around this while I hold down those sections. And that might be enough for the job. Remember, we will have those 4 threaded rods all the way through the length. So we only really need a tack weld in to stop it from falling apart before those threaded rods go in. This one will be a fun one. Okay, so that's now tacked, and I think that'll be enough over here, 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 and here. So that'll be enough. You can see I'm lifting the whole weight of this just on the tacked joints. So when you consider I'm going to have all threaded rods down through these 4 points that will be holding it all together, I think that will be fine. Now, I mentioned earlier when I was putting in these captive nuts, there's a slot, so the part that fits in here slots into here and then gets held back with those 2 screws, and there's a matching slot here for these 2. So that'll do for this video. If you like these videos, don't forget to click on like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you're notified when the next video comes out. It's also a form of support that helps the channel a great deal and costs you absolutely nothing. If you'd like to support the channel further, I do have both Patron and YouTube membership, and you can join my VIP patrons GoLucky and Coburnicus, my All Access Patron Jeff Jerde, my Builder patrons Al Morales 45, Andrew Cardone, Airgar69, Stefan Papst, James Kelly, Guy Daumerie, and my YouTube member Magdy Salib in helping to support the channel. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a question in the comments or drop into my Discord. I see that more regularly, and you can ask your question there. If I can't answer it, then maybe one of my other members can, and you'll get an answer to your question. And we'll see you in the next video.